So the situation in Maharashtra is alarming, and to talk about this, we have a man who rarely speaks. His name is Dr. Sanjay Ok, and he is the head of the Maharashtra COVID Task Force. He's now with us. Dr. Ok, thank you so much for sparing time. I know your job is very, very difficult, incredibly difficult with this large number of cases. So let me first start by asking you, what's your assessment of the COVID situation in your state, Maharashtra?
Yes, I mean, without going into the statistical details of numbers, I can tell you that there is a shortage of oxygen that is now being palpably felt in the private hospitals, as well as it will go down to the government hospitals. Availability of remdesivir was an issue, but that is being addressed at two levels. One is increasing the production, which will become available in additional batches, I think from 15th onwards. And second thing, a proper audit of remdesivir usage. So the task force has issued advisories as to when this drug is to be utilized, and it's not a wonder drug. It has its own limitations and its own application rules. So that we have reinforced to all our treating physicians. And then repeatedly telling as to what are the red flags when you are home quarantining people and what you should do when a patient is received from first 0 to 72 hours to keep down the fatality figures in check. So this is what is being done.
Dr. Ok, you mentioned, let's look at these aspects one by one. So you mentioned remdesivir. Now, we've seen multiple reports, particularly from Maharashtra, of remdesivir shortage. Do you think that this medicine is being overprescribed by the doctors? Because the central government seems to have this feeling that that is exactly the case. And doctors must not prescribe this without reason. Do you think that assessment is correct?
Yeah. So let me clarify it in absolute great scientific details. Remdesivir is an antiviral drug. This drug is useful when the virus is actually replicating in human body. That means in a specific period of time, this drug should be given. And it works for a specific number of days. So remdesivir does not save life. Remdesivir reduces the stay of the patient in a hospital. In medical parlance, it reduces the patient convalescence of corona by about 1 or 2 days. It is to be given in an interval of 2nd day to 9th day. And it is to be given as on 1st day 2 loading dosages, and then 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th, and that's it. Now what has happened is that people, and that includes even the medical fraternity, felt that this is a wonder drug. This is something like a Sanjeevani for corona, and we can give it on 12th day, 13th day, 14 days of arrival of the patient. And we can do it by giving this drug continuously, 7th day, 8th day, 9th day, or even in a second cycle. Now all this is unscientific, and therefore I repeat that remdesivir is a drug to be used only when the patient is hospitalized from 2nd to 9th day of his symptomatic period, and in specific dosages not exceeding 5 days.
I think that's an important point that you're making, and this is a strong message to the doctors also who are prescribing this. But the point is, when someone's trying to save the life of a loved one, then they try to look at these ways. Thanks for setting the record straight on that. But Dr. Ok, let's talk about the bed situation now. You think we were underprepared this time around? Perhaps a result of, a failing in our assessment that this virus can never come back? Got lax maybe?
The task force was never in its slumber. The task force repeatedly was telling that it is not lockdown or other measures, but it is adoption and strict adherence of corona COVID appropriate behavior. If we don't allow that, why we only talk of 2 waves? We will have multiple waves which will come after this. Unless and until we adhere to mask, safe distancing, sanitization and other protocols, corona is bound to repeat. You talked about number of beds. No country, no nation on the entire globe was prepared for the onslaught of the cases that happened. Plus, here is a virus which has phenomenal infectivity, thankfully low virulence in its second attire. And that is the reason I said that one patient who is moving in society in the corners of our street without a mask is a potential threat to 400 people. That's the speed at which this particular disease has got multiplied. And therefore, no amount of beds. Today, the corridors, the open spaces have also been converted into beds. Oxygen production, oxygen acquisition has been jumped up. Industrial oxygen has been virtually stopped in the state. And we are also on the verge of borrowing oxygen from neighboring states. All this has happened in a thoughtful manner, but the numbers that are coming in are frighteningly high.
Okay, but Dr. Oak, I'm sure there must be some assessment. I know that this is a mega surge, but is there a timeline you have in mind or an assessment on when these COVID cases are going to peak and by when will this start coming down? Any estimate?
Yes, very good question. Now, the first wave of corona all across the globe followed a kind of a mathematical or a statistical parabola type pattern and an equation where one could predict the number of cases by specific number of days. Well, this time it is spreading at an astounding rapidity. But we all feel that in Maharashtra now we are very close to the peak of that parabola of the second wave. And from next week onwards, we would see a slow decline. Now, I predict that this decline will be slower than the rate at which we had it at the time of the first episode. But I hope that by end of April and beginning of May, we would have plateaued it down to an acceptable and easy manageable level. So that is the reason. See, I don't want to rest at this stage at all because there is no guarantee that you won't have it as a third wave sometime in June, July, or even subsequently. And therefore, I think this work of augmenting the number of beds in the state, not only in metropolis cities, tier 3 cities, augmenting the oxygen availability, all these are prime responsibilities now in the months to come. And that's why in metros, the field jumbo hospitals are being planned. Like Mumbai is going to have 3 more. Pune will also have. Nagpur, Nashik will have.
No, Dr.
Because see, you can't build a solid multi-storied hospital in
that
3
I
months.
agree.
But you can build a decent jumbo hospital, field hospital, which will subserve your purpose.
That's
that
true.
is something which seems to be the next direction.
No, Dr. Oak, that's fine. It should be the next direction. My only question was that could this not have been preempted? You knew that there will be a subsequent wave. So these jumbo hospitals or temporary hospitals could have been built earlier. The word that you used was augmenting. This augmenting could have been done earlier. Now, Dr. Oak, do you have an idea by when will these jumbo hospitals be set up across Maharashtra, not just Mumbai?
Yeah. So just now the jumbos which we have in Mumbai and in metros are being utilized to their near 100% capacity. There are some beds still left vacant in Mumbai at least, not in Pune. But what you asked me is that the new capacities, I have a feeling that by end of May and by first 10 days of June, we should have the new jumbos also getting ready.
Sure. Okay, Dr. Oak, let's now talk about the virus itself. There is an assessment by a few doctors that this strain that you see, which is wreaking havoc, is actually the UK strain. What would you say about the prevalence of the UK strain or the double mutation? What is causing this surge?
See, I mean, these are speculations, whether it's a UK strain or a Brazilian strain or an African one or an entirely de novo new for India. See, what happens is that if you go back to that particular structure of the classic coronavirus, you see multiple spicules outside. These are the glycoproteins which are attached. And even if at one locus, even if at one spot, even if one of them changes, you get a new polymer, you get a new genome, you get a new virus, whom we call it as new strain. So usually they are known by the number, the site number N95-2 or something like that, where that particular virus is distinct. I'm not too worried about that because finally they all belong to the corona family. It is like we having our cousin lineage in our family, So most of them would behave in a similar manner. Their infectivity and their virulence would differ, but they would respond to the vaccination that we are on and to the line of therapy that we are following. And that is important.
Yeah, that's true. But Dr. Oak, cousins don't usually always respond the same way. They may be very different. And could this not be true about the virus itself? But Dr. Oak, the one thing that can fix this are the vaccines. I want to ask you a question on vaccination. Did we waste crucial time by not speeding up our vaccination drive?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you have touched my heart. I have been shouting from rooftop for last almost about 6 weeks in the state that we need to have vaccination done at the speed of a leopard. Today, we are just tottering behind. We will have to entirely change the plan of vaccination for the state. We will have to take it to the home. See, there are so many elderly people. I feel very sad. I run a vaccination center in my own hospital down. It's pathetic to see they coming on wheelchair, resting and waiting in torching sun half an hour. We should do that in their home. If you don't want it in the home, doesn't matter. We will get them down in an open space at the society building. The society people can arrange the logistics. The healthcare workers can go and do it. Similarly, in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, we can have it in shamiyanas, in open grounds. We can have this particular age of vaccination should come down quickly. England is already contemplating vaccination 10 years onwards in the month of August. They have started the trials of those vaccines in that younger age group. And I won't be surprised if we will have to follow the same path by third quarter of this year. So definitely our speed at which the vaccination is being conducted just now needs to be stepped up.
That's true, but Dr. Oak,
vaccination, my final words on this pandemic for India, vaccination, 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 oxygen, 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 and COVID appropriate behavior. That's all that is required.
Yeah, but Dr. Oak, I mean, the central government says testing, testing, testing also. What would you say about the rate of testing?
Tests are being upscaled. Just 1 year back, Maharashtra had only 2 labs. Today, we have about 524 where it can be done. Initially, last April, I think the numbers used to be about 2,000 tests done in a day in Mumbai. Today, we are doing almost about 50,000 tests. All across the state, we are doing about 2.5 lakhs per day. What does the test do? The test will give us the positivity. The test will isolate one that is affected from a completely healthy one. If you ask me, and if I elaborate on this test as to what is likely to happen in future, this test is going to become a routine part of our workup. See, you and me are working. We are stepping out of home. We will get cough. We will get cold. I mean, just think, in a year you do it, you get cough and cold at least twice or thrice in the entire year as the season changes. Next time when you get that, your general practitioner will tell you, oh, please go and get an RT-PCR done. I'm a surgeon. I operate babies every day. Before every procedure now, just as I do blood grouping and cross-matching, RT-PCR is done so that the baby is not positive when I lay down my knife on this. Yeah. So the test will eventually find its place in the normal workup of a healthy stroke unhealthy individual.
That's true. And speaking of testing, Dr. Oak, see, there are doctors here in the national capital who feel that this virus is smart enough to even trump RT-PCR tests, that a negative could also actually mean positive. What's your assessment?
Absolutely true. Absolutely. I endorse the observation of my Delhi colleagues. And if you remember, RT-PCR has its yield to almost about 75% or 80%, not 100%. Rapid antigen has it only up to 30%. So 70% there is a chance that you may still miss. Now, the virus is smart and all the viruses have been smarter than the doctors who treat them. That's a very open statement that I will make. And therefore, the virus will always try to change just one spicule and it might escape. So the dictum in the treatment of viral illnesses is treat the symptoms, not the test result. If the patient is having symptoms, see, the disease has to be at the back of your mind as a clinician. Oh, can this patient have corona? If you ask this question yourself, you are likely to be a better doctor.
All right, Dr. Sanjay Oak, thank you very much for sparing time. Thank you very much for joining us right here on NDTV.